Clerk will read the next resolution.
HR-1, honoring Wheeler County Judge Jeanne Burch.
The question now rises upon final reading and adoption of HR-1. Co-carrier Representative Smith.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. What a special morning we're having, recognizing special citizens throughout Oregon. On the side aisle, I have Judge Jeanne Burch. Judge, will you stand up for us, please? Thank you. Now, moving from the soul of Portland through Washington County, now I want to talk about a great lady from Frontier, Oregon, from Oregon's smallest county, from Oregon's most remote county, and talk about a lady by the name of Judge Jeanne Burch, Wheeler County's most retired judge. And I'm going to take a moment and I'm going to read House Resolution 1. And the excerpts that came from House Resolution 1 came from her friends throughout Eastern Oregon. It says, whereas Jeanne Burch was appointed as Wheeler County Judge in 1994, and whereas Judge Burch has served as not only the county judge, but also as a probate and juvenile court judge, county administrator, and chair of the county court, and whereas at the time of Judge Burch's appointment, Wheeler County was close to bankruptcy, following the decline of the region's timber industry. And whereas Judge Burch toured the county to explain to the residents the dire financial situation and, as a Republican, voted them to raise taxes and bring Wheeler County back to solvency. And whereas the historic Wheeler County Courthouse had been falling into despair and Judge Burch was able to secure funding for renovation, and whereas Judge Burch was a founding board member of Frontier Telenet, helping to implement communication services and rural broadband in Gillum, Sherman, and Wheeler counties, and facilitating public education, health, and safety communications. And whereas Judge Burch led efforts to bring cellular telephone coverage to the city of Fossil and the northern portion of Wheeler County, efforts that were rewarded with the construction of the area's first cellular tower. And whereas Judge Burch secured funding from Sustainable Oregon for the Oregon Paleo Project and the Oregon Paleo Lands Institute Field Center. And whereas Judge Burch was instrumental in securing a grant from the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development for the construction of a new family services center in Wheeler County. And whereas Judge Burch serves as vice chair of the Commission for Women. And whereas Judge Burch played a key role in recent efforts to promote better health and wellness for all Wheeler County residents by setting up a community gym, which I might note received national recognition. And whereas Judge Burch has helped boost local tourism with such efforts as the creation of a bluegrass festival that draws hundreds of visitors every summer. And whereas Judge Burch has brought a wealth of worldly experience, wisdom, and dedication to her position and leaves a lasting legacy of positive change in Wheeler County. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the House of Representatives of the State of Oregon that we, the members of the House of Representatives of the 77th Legislative Assembly, honor Judge Jeanne Burch for her exemplary leadership and service to the community and wish her the best in her retirement. Colleagues, that's the Judge Burch I know. I now want to just share with you very briefly a few comments shared by her colleagues throughout the region. The first one comes from a gentleman by the name of Mike MacArthur. Many of you might know Mike, in that he's the executive director of Associated Oregon Counties. What you may not know is that for a period of years, he was also the county judge in Sherman County. He says, I have known Jeanne Burch since her appointment as Wheeler County Judge in 1993. During her tenure, Judge Burch steadily guided Wheeler County from the brink of dissolution to a status of stability. This was a remarkable accomplishment given the county's paucity of resources, including population and its geographic isolation. Judge Burch earns the public's trust through fiscally responsible leadership, hard work, good sense, and good humor. Retired County Judge Patricia Shaw says, Jeanne Burch has been a mentor to me for 6 years as Gillum County Judge. Because of her trusted and capable hands, Wheeler County was pulled out of near bankruptcy and now experiences stability and positive fiscal management. This is all the more impressive considering she carried not only her responsibilities as county judge, but also managed all the bookkeeping and payroll. Simply put, Jeanne Burch is one of the best things to happen to Wheeler County. I am honored to call her my friend. And then a friend very close to the judge, Marge Sharp, reads, every stranger knows Jeannie. She takes the time to listen to everyone and their life stories. I remember a time when we were walking through the Portland airport together, and for some reason we became separated. I quickly found her visiting with a complete stranger. He was sharing with her his life story, both good and bad. However, Jeannie stood there listening intently and asking engaging questions. That is the type of person Jeanne Burch is. No matter what walk of life you come from, everyone trusts and loves her. And finally, from retired County Commissioner John Asher. She should be pretty proud of the accomplishment she has done. As a colleague of Jeannie's for over 14 years, all one needs to do is look around and see all the changes that have occurred under her service. She's a good hand. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Representative. Co-carrier, Representative Huffman.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Colleagues, when we went through legislative redistricting, most of you in this room didn't feel anything. I lost entire counties. But one of the blessings of legislative redistricting was that I retained Wheeler County. And that thrilled me because I love Wheeler County. And Judge Burch. Judge Burch was the first elected official that I reached out to, actually before being appointed. And I wasn't that familiar with Wheeler County. It is remote, it is frontier, and my radio signal didn't quite make it to Fossil. Almost, but Condon was kind of where it started dropping off. So I introduced myself to Judge Burch and I said, so what about Wheeler County? What are the needs of Wheeler County? Kind of give me an idea of what I would be in for in representing Wheeler County if chosen to be the representative. Thinking that she was going to bemoan the fact that they were losing timber receipts or any number of other issues that are facing our small rural counties, she said, we need cellular telephone. Well, it kind of took me by surprise. It was probably the last thing that I would have listed that I would have heard from Judge Burch. And I said, well, no promises, but I might be able to help with that. And I started making some phone calls. 2 weeks later, we had a meeting. One day before I came to Salem to be sworn in by Chief DeMunis, we had a meeting at the courthouse in Fossil. 1 year later, we turned on the first cell site for coverage for the north end of Wheeler County for cell service. And I don't know if that was it or if it was just because Jeannie and I hit it off, but she's been my biggest cheerleader. And we all know we need cheerleaders because there are plenty of days when we get emails referring to us in more derogatory terms. And I never heard that out of Judge Burch. She may not have agreed with all my decisions, but she was always there pushing me on, saying, you do a great job of representing our county. And it's an honor for me to be able to stand up and honor Judge Burch today. Thank you, colleagues.
Thank you, Representative. Further discussion. Representative McLean.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Judge Burch was more than a county administrator. She actually acted as a judge, and I'm not sure if anyone else in this place got to appear in front of her as a lawyer, but I did. And county judges in rural areas do more than administrate. They actually make decisions that are binding. They are the jack of all trades. One judge makes a difference. This judge made a difference in a county that I worked in growing up, a county where my mom as a registered nurse worked her career in. But we had a case not dogs running at large, but cattle running at large. And Judge Burch and I had 7, 8, I don't know how many cases together where I had to come hat in hand with my defendant, whose cows were yet again in the road. But Judge Burch, again, put on her judicial robe, so to speak, and was always fair and always applied the law. And in that respect, I won some and I lost some, but she did a great job, and thank you, Judge Burch.
Thank you, Representative. Further discussion? Seeing none, Representative Smith, would you like to close?
Just very quickly. Colleagues, it's so ironic that this is House Resolution 1 because Judge Burch is a number 1 lady. On the side aisle with the judge, please stand, is her husband, Howard. Howard, stand. Wheeler County's newest and greatest judge, Commissioner Perry. Commissioner Perry, come on up. District Attorney Dan Owsley, Teresa Greenfield, and Robin Hunt Palazzo. Colleagues, I hope you'll join me in unanimously passing House Resolution 1. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Representative. Those who are of the opinion that the resolution should be adopted will vote aye. Those opposed, no. Clerk will open the voting system. Judge Burch, on behalf of the Oregon House, I want to thank you for your service. I've had the pleasure of visiting Wheeler County. I've been in your courthouse in Fossil. It's a beautiful county. Everyone there is very thankful to have your leadership. I know retirement is a relative term. I hope you enjoy it. And thank you. And colleagues, HR-1, having received the constitutional majority, is declared adopted.